Hi, happy Saturday. I'm just going to have a quick chat while I can. This is Jeff. Jeff's the energy barometer, so if I get a bit giddy internally or scared or anxious or whatever, he starts panting. He's very old and stinking, he just wants an easy life, so I'm going to try and keep this chill for Jeff. I've still not got my teeth sorted out yet, so you'll probably see a gap at some point. It was supposed to be sorted last week, and the receptionist loved telling me that it would be an extra 3 weeks that I would have to wait because they had no appointments. So it's quite annoying. It's 0222 on this clock now. It's the wrong time in real life, but it's saying that. I'll talk about that actually quickly. Synchronicities have been so crazy. For the last week maybe, but 2 specific days, not yesterday, the day before, and then the day before that. It was, and this has happened to me before, this time last year I think, it's been the 2 repeating numbers each hour, so 06, 06, 07, 07, 08, 08, 09, 09, 010, 010, honestly non-stop right until 2020, and then I fell asleep before 9 o'clock, so I didn't catch 2121. And that is not me, that is literally picking up the phone at a certain point and just being like, what the fuck again, you know. So they're the numbers that I've been seeing recently. Right, so I wanted to talk a little bit about spiritual irresponsibility, and I've touched on this a few times in different ways, and it's not me being who's, you know, immature and irresponsible. It's just me being miffed sometimes at the world and going, what the fuck, you know. So the first thing that miffed me the other day was a so-called spiritual channel, I guess. She started offering a service for $10 where you can send her in the name of someone, and she'll give you a yes or a no answer on if somebody is like AI or not. And I thought to myself, what an AI thing to do. I think it's disgusting that, to not have the foresight to see what information like that given to individuals, for not just them but for everyone else involved, you know, the potential psychological damage that could cause. I just thought it was the most irresponsible thing I've seen for ages, and I just thought, well, you can sell your soul in a million ways, can't you? And so this sort of hypocrisy within the spiritual community I seem to come across time and time again, and I'm pulling myself back because I find myself getting irritated by certain things, and I do learn from things, you know, that irritate me, so I guess we all get our kicks in our own individual ways. But I've been really feeling how energy harvesting happens within the spiritual community as well, so-called spiritual community, or the truther community, and how the narratives are driven by a certain few influencers, or the ones with the loudest mouths. And again, I'm not saying anybody is sort of anything they're not pretending to be, but the integrity is missing sometimes in place of the ego. The tendency to make external things fantastical, and, you know, everything's rainbows and sparkles and unicorns and Pleiadians and extraterrestrials, and, you know, it's never, I mean, I've got to be honest, there's a certain part of me that does resonate with that, but it's more the mission than the actuality of, you know, having lived lives on different planets. I feel like the interdimensional psychic astral travel is all done from the human vessel, connecting to source, and then we interpret and use our imagination and experience and education and everything else to amalgamate some story. So I'm never dissing on anybody who chooses to believe in these different things. Like I said, there's part of it that resonates with me, but there's also part of me that doesn't, and that likes to internalize and try and ground things a little bit more. So how the fuck did I get onto that? I was whinging about someone, wasn't I? yeah, I just thought, what a fucking weird thing to do. I'm just going back to what she was offering the services for, how that information of such a deep concept as well, this whole soulless NPC thing, and it's been backed and pushed by simulation theory, which mainstream science backs. So I'm still always just like, I have the right to have a critical mind, I guess, and to question everything, and to, just go with my own internal feelings instead of just assimilating information because it's given to me. So I just feel like things are a little bit different. So anyway, all this fantasticalizing, that's not a word, everything, making everything mystical and stroking our egos more and more and more. And I see it happening by figureheads in communities, and then I see how just their one personal opinion drives the narrative and the collective consciousness of that particular group. And then what I see is the impact that has on real people and the followers, that are following the every word of these influencers. Yeah, and it affects real people's real lives. So this hopefully will follow on to something else I want to talk about. But I was watching a live stream the other day. The conversation got onto blood types, along with loads of other quite sensitive topics that I'd say. And the lady, I do like, I resonate with her spirit and her vibration, but I don't always agree with all the information, and her information said as fact about many things, doesn't sort of vibe with me, especially when someone, so she says such and such as such, whatever she said, doesn't matter. There was a few different examples, and I look in the comments and I see people getting confused and fearful and questioning everything that they've known up to them because of this piece of information that's just been given, and I just feel like there's a lack of foresight to the actuality of, you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Just like be responsible with your words. So I'm just going to have a little chat about blood groups now, because I disagree. I don't think that rhesus negative people are extraterrestrial, hybrid, alien, Nephilim, reptilian. I don't think anything like that. And there's the science and the images of the different blood groups, the cells, and I've just drawn a little picture, so I hope that I can explain it a little bit. I've tried to before in a few other videos. When I first had this forced Kundalini awakening, I saw wait then. One of the downloads that I was given was that my DNA had been upgraded, and it was to do with the rhesus negative blood, and it was important, and I needed to look into it, which I did. And it's been a wild 18 months reading all these bullshit narratives about it and stuff, but I've felt the growing agenda, and maybe this is a little bit of fear on my part, but I just don't like hearing bullshit, especially when it affects people's real lives. So there's a lot of truth in what people say, there is, but not everything is truth, and if you're portraying it as truth, you need to disclaim things a little bit more and maybe think about the words that you're doing. So I don't know. This is how my mind finds it easier to understand. And this actually ties into another video that's doing the rounds at the moment by Dana Ashley channel, about Morgellons and a possible solution to that, and some other conspiratorial type stuff. But when I was watching Dana Ashley's video, and she was interviewing this guy who supposedly worked on these secret programs with HAARP and, these all to do with nanotech and chemtrails and this, that and the other. And I've heard little bits of this information over my journey, because when I had this Kundalini awakening, I went through some crazy fucking itches and shit, and, for a while, I had a lot of rhesus negatives contacting me, telling me about Morgellons. It was probably Morgellons and blah blah blah. And I noticed that as I healed, the mind and the heart started opening and healing more. This didn't affect me anymore, you know, and I no longer looked into these darker conspiracies, I guess. So, but like I said, you know, conspiracy or not, shit, the fucking battery's draining. Yeah, on this video, he said that basically these, the nanotech is to assimilate into us in the stomach, where something in the acidity of the stomach changes these components into nanotech with antennae and whatever, that is controlled by all the different HAARP centres around the world. You know, they're controlling this central frequency or something. I don't know, I'll link the video. I understood it, but obviously I'm not going to tell it as well now. And he was saying that a portion down, and that Morgellons is the accident. It's not supposed to happen. You're actually supposed to assimilate. But the Morgellons is, you know, proof of it not fitting well. It's being fought off within this body. And so I was like, I just thought immediately that the portion that it is not working on, that would show up as Morgellons, are more likely to be rhesus negatives, and that fits in with loads of other things that I've heard and seen tons of comments by people talking about this as a symptom who are rhesus negative blood. So anywho, it kind of ties into this, right? So I'm going to link another video that I've linked in the past. If you're rhesus negative, please watch it. I saw 144 then I couldn't concentrate, sorry. I really felt the need to talk about rhesus negative blood when I woke up, and I've allowed myself to feel like I can't. So if this feeling continues where I feel like trepidation, I'm gonna do like a Patreon thing, I think, and then I know that anybody who's genuinely interested enough to listen is there for the right reasons, hopefully, you know, and that I can speak more freely and maybe rant about a few more stuff, because there's so much I want to talk about and rant about, but I'm having to process whether it's the right thing to do, when to say things, how to say things, and to try and remember, you know, no judgment, essentially. And I find it hard, you know, because I'm not Mother Teresa, I'm not this light being, you know, I'm more of like a shadow worker, I guess, or I don't fucking know, but you know, I'm not this la-di-da-di-da, and I don't feel like my spirit actually wants me to be that. I just want to be who I am, which is really good anyway, you know. It's not like I'm going to go out and nick some stuff and hurt a cat or anything. It's like I'm just, you know, I want to express myself with no controls. I want my frequency to emit just the way it wants to. So, right, everything we're told seems to be backwards in mainstream, and you know, and this makes me sound like a conspiracy nut, and I don't care. But they tell us that we don't know where this comes from. But when you look at pictures of the blood cells, the red blood cells, there's a much more logical reason, and this lady in the video I'm going to put down below explains it brilliantly. But essentially, these are the red blood cells. I can't see what's going on there. Right, there we go. So this is the rhesus positive, and this is the rhesus negative. It's absent of antigens. These are antigens. And polypeptides and nanotech, this lady calls it. You know, she references it as nanotech, but explains, you know, the biological reality of that. Essentially what they do, the rhesus protein, which rhesus negatives are absent from, without, this funnels carbon dioxide and ammonia from the red blood cells. So this girl sort of theorises that it's sucking the life force, it's literally draining the energy from you. And so that ties in with this stuff that I just heard on the Dana Ashley video as well. And I've also heard somebody else, I keep seeing flashing lights, it's weird that, isn't it? because that's another rhesus negative thing, isn't it? So, yeah, and the life force in the blood, that's mentioned in the Bible over and over again. Is it Leviticus? The girl in the video, she references all sorts of things. So, right, here we go. So these are rhesus positive cells. A, they have this one certain type of antigen on. B's, blood group B positive, they have these type of antigen. A, B have a mixture of both. And O positives, they just have these tiny little things on that I guess are ready to, I don't know, small antigens. I didn't actually catch what that bit was, but basically that's how they look. And the O negative is free of all of these drainers, essentially. And this lady, it sounds way more logical and legit than anything else that is told, which is usually the opposite, you know, that we only showed up and we're some hybrid of that. When you look at the pictures like that, do you see what I mean? It's like the O is the original and everything else is a branched off version of that with antigens or nanotech, you know, biology that is siphoning and removing things. So obviously the pH levels and the acidity, that's all really important as well, and that is mentioned in both videos that I'm going to post down beneath as well. But there's something to do with that, and the rhesus negative blood interests me so much. I've got so many internal theories that I want to speak about, and I'll always say this is just my fucking opinion. I'm not right, I don't even want to be right, it's just nobody knows anything. So for people with louder mouths and bigger followings to go, you know, it's just so blatantly and blasely, just go, oh, you're such and such, well, you're from blah, 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 or you're extraterrestrial, or you're this, that, and the other, and you go, oh my God, you know, it affects people's lives, and yeah, it's bothered me a little bit, because that's all you fucking see. So if you're rhesus negative, check out the video down below, and also, I don't know, do you think it's worth, like, because I don't have a Facebook page and I don't use Instagram, I'm trying to just rewind from everything really. Plus I'm skint, so I'm wondering about opening up like a Patreon account where if anybody who's genuinely interested in talking about our experiences of this without censoring, I guess, then I figure that people would listen only if they were interested and if they like me or vibe with me, and then I don't have this sort of, you know, albeit illusionary, fear of backlash, you know, to do with the ego and the superiority and blah, 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 blah. But there's so many threads that I personally have been weaving inside, and I find certain people, and they also interweave, and it just so happens that they're rhesus negatives as well. And yeah, so there's more to it. I was told it in this crazy forced awakening, and again, it go with clear whether that's just for my benefit, maybe my future career, maybe, I don't bloody know, whatever. But it is important, and if I deny that it's important, this blood issue, then, you know, I'm being a fool. So I'm going to start talking more about it. But yeah, sick of this fucking spiritual irresponsibility, and it happens loads in the truther community as well, where there's just so much hypocrisy and bullshit going around, you know, everyone giving their own opinion on things, and then you just see the sheep, all the followers, the backlash, the division, it's all irrelevancy. But I'm starting to see through a few more veils of things, and I just know that everybody is an individual at their own level of consciousness, on their own path, on their own journey, and that's great. But when you allow your ego to overtake that foresight of potential damage that your information could do by just chatting shit as if it's fact, not all shit, but a portion of shit, without owning up to that, is irresponsible when it impacts on people. I saw people in this live feed going, oh my God, I'm rhesus negative and my husband's positive? Does that mean I have to divorce him? You know, like these genuine questions. And these are things that, you know, we shouldn't have to think about on the spot like that because of one person's opinion and paradigm. I do think that we all need to have blood tests. We all need to know what we are for medical reasons as well as other reasons, you know, so we can just protect ourselves, help each other out, live healthier lives. There's the life force is in the blood, the electricity, the life force, the loosh, the energy, and it's been drained. And I think if you believe this man, it's been siphoned through, you know, high technology to create a real world simulation where the host will swap round. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to control humans through nanotechnology. And so there's that, or there's, you know, just the fact that rhesus negative people suffer with the same illnesses, and we perceive reality in pretty much the same way. We've had similar experiences, something to do with the senses. The eyes are another thing, not just the way they look, but what they can see.